Howdy, folks. I'm Rebecca Jolly, the Jolly Alchemist, here for a daily transit report or a neutrino forecast, however you want to put it. For Thursday, the 2nd of October, 2025, we're moving into the final phase of the final days of the cross of upheaval, the second version, here in the third quarter. So, this is much more having to do with people. Oh my goodness, I'm upheaving myself already. Well, there it is. With people, because this one is focusing on the 18 instead of on the 17. So 18.6 is what 64 keys calls boundlessness, but Ra called Buddhahood. And the 64 keys definition is departure to find new horizons instead of standstill. So yeah, we need more information on that. So I went digging. So this aspect of Buddhahood, or coming to the end, sitting on the top of the hill, what's going on here is that they have the feeling, because it's moved into their bodies rather than something that they're focusing on, that they're already perfected. We're in here in the 18th gate, where we're looking at what's spoiled, what's needing to be corrected, but at that 6th line, there's a feeling like it's already corrected. I'm already done. I'm perfect, so spoil me. So there's this king on the hill kind of a feeling. It's about the corrected form. They're assuming everything is already correct, but if you come and ask them, why is everything correct, they will tell you, this is what's going on, and let me tell you why. The grass is growing green. I'll explain everything. Very interesting about these people. Ross said that they need to take a very much older lover. And the interesting thing that I found about that is that my partner who carries this line, his partner before me was very much older than he was. And he was with her for over 17 years. So I'm just like, wow, that actually tracks. Very interesting. We also have 17.6 in Earth. So the 17 is also going to be the perfected form, so to speak, of that gate of opinions. And it's called by 64 keys Enlightenment by Ra Bodhisattva. So again, you're getting up to this really elevated form of the dynamic between leading and following, perfected opinions. It's 64 keys describes it as who wants to lead must be able to serve. So you're getting into that. Ra talks about being able to express opinions of value, not of values. That's different. Valuable opinions, and they want to see them implemented. Now. Let's get into it. Let's see it. Let's have it. And there is also a detriment to this line today, which is where understanding is achieved, one is tempted to believe there is nothing more to learn. I've seen this in a couple of people, and I went and looked up their charts, but it wasn't specifically there for them. But my partner also carries this line and the detriment, and I definitely see sometimes this tendency to have an opinion like, no, I don't need that. I already have this. Ross says that a lot of sort of woo-woo people, astrologers, and psychics and specialized kind of people will have this activation, and you go to them and you try to teach them human design, and they say, I already have a system. I already understand how things are working, so I don't really need that. And so it's a kind of an arrogance that can come across sometimes in these people in the detriment. But at the same time, they are deeply attractive to some people because they don't usually go around let me tell you my opinion the way a 5th line will. The 6th line, they just have the opinions. So if you want their opinions, you got to go to them. You got to ask them, and then they'll tell you their opinions, but their opinions can truly be of value at that point. So it's a very interesting thing. All right, our moon starts off today at 41, line 5. That is authorization as the potential has been recognized. Now, that's an interesting thing to see in line 5 of 41, because 41 is, of course, our initiating code on here. It's called decrease. It's about a longing for new experience. You're really, really wanting something new. And we haven't come to this yet, so I haven't done the deep dive in it, but I am guessing that what's going on here is that the energy to long and desire for something new has aged to a point that the potential for something new has been recognized, and it's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. And that's where we get that authorization. Like, all right, we've got to have a new experience. Let's go. We've recognized that there's a potential for something new here. Let's go get it. And that thing that you're going to get is an emotional experience that comes through a bit of a crisis, and then you could talk about it. After 41, the moon will move into 19. That is needs of the community on this side. Yep, from the root up to the emotional center, and if the needs of the community aren't met, boom, it's revolution, which the moon will also touch, like at the very, very end of the day. But before that, it will touch 13, which is the gate of empathy, listening, being interested in history, because you're looking backwards for understanding humanity and what we can learn from it. So those are our moon energies. Then we will move into Mercury, which is at 32, line 3, with an up arrow. Now, we looked at 32, line 3 yesterday briefly because we knew we were going to be moving into that, and that was having to do with indecision in times of transformation, because of course that 32 is continuity, staying stable through changes for success. Now we've got an up arrow on it, which is the instinct and intelligence not to make hasty decisions when persistent and renewed assessment is called for. So I was thinking yesterday when we were looking at just 32.3 that it was like, let's just go ahead and take the risk. But now it's like, we are going to take the risk, but we're still at the same time going to be carefully assessing before that risk is taken. Because after all, it's tending to lead towards success, this risk-taking. I mean, if you think about it, all third lines are risk-taking. They're experimental. They're trying shit. As a third line profile myself, I know all about that experimentation. But this is experimentation that's going to try to be a little more careful because it's interested in actually doing something and not just fucking around like I've spent a lot of time doing. So, we got 32 sitting there. Okay. It's also going to move into line 4 today, gate 32. That is right as might, to maintain one's principles in times of change. And then we will actually start to see the beginning of it moving into line 5. So I figured give it to you. We'll come back over it again tomorrow. And that is flexibility. Flexible adaptation to changed circumstances. Of course, there in the 5th line, you have the highest level, what everybody wants to see. They want to see somebody who's flexible in times of change. That's really a basic part of the definition of what it means to succeed. So, yeah, we'll swing back around to that one. Mars starts off in gate 28, line 6. Gate 28 is the gate of risk-taking in our channel here of adventure, and I say these things over and over again. Okay, so 28.6 is blaze of glory, wanting to win no matter the cost. All right. Yeah, but I skipped over Venus. There's so many details here. My writing gets teenier and teenier and teenier, and then I'm just like, oh, what is that? What is it? It's easy to skip when you're looking at all these little bitty details. So, yeah, let's swing back around to Venus, which was 64.5. That also has an up arrow on it. 64.5 is confidence, the hope of a new order, and the up arrow is one recognizes the meaning of efforts, and there is a confident promise that action makes sense. 64 is our gate of confusion up here. So we're really coming back through that essence of confusion into the highest form, that fifth line. So the confidence that confusion is going to be able to lead to something good. And then that Venus will also move into line 6, which is victory, the gift of enjoying the confusion, because you actually feel much more comfortable with it, knowing that that is going to resolve eventually. That 64 is eventually going to connect to that 47, so that confusion can get some sense made out of it eventually. And by the way, that is a connection that is going to be made today for everyone, because we have that 47 in the South Node. So as long as 64 is meeting that 47, we have the ability to make sense of things and thinking about them. And that's the whole world, whether you're defined or not. So cool. Hopefully we can make some sense, because we have some rather confusing things going on in the global energy where we have a shift. So we are talking about this as well, which is why I'm trying to talk quickly, because there's so much to talk about. Moving on. So we already talked about 28, Blaze of Glory, and now we can talk about Jupiter. That's our lucky planet, a fortunate cooperation, where we are moving from 62.2, where it's been for a while, into 62.3, Discovery. 62 is our gate of attention to detail, and that, of course, will be mixing today with the 17 in the Earth to make a channel there as well. But of course, today's our last day on 17, so this channel is not going to be connected tomorrow. So enjoy today, this final day of full mental to throat connection for everyone. So if you don't have definition up here, hallelujah, you got it for at least one more day. Good day to think about things, make sense of things, and form opinions of things. And in this last day today. Yeah. So anyway, the global energy shifting to 62.3, details. Yeah. Discovery, to discover valuable information and innovative applications in detail work. So we're aging through this sort of energy of really looking into the details here, and that's energy that is supporting this global time of shifting, this really what are we doing with the old and the new? Yeah. And to just go over those energies really quickly, we have, okay, this detail work going on in Jupiter, fine. Then Saturn, we've got the 36.6, which we saw shifting just recently, which is about no matter how much you know a crisis is coming, you still can't avoid it, because things have built up to a place where it's just like, yeah, there you are. And we do see this, I think, with people having lots of conversations about right and wrong, and the valuing of what has not been valued in the past, all kinds of brown people, little people, marginalized people, trans people, children, women, all these, things. You've got this religious fanaticism and fascism clashing up against all the newfangled, new agey. Of course, everybody's valuable kind of people, and working out the ins and outs of how that's going to go. The traditional that's happening in golly, what's the name of the friggin' planet? Pluto. Whew. But even that 60 line 6 is pointing towards 41, where we just were talking about the moon, that energy and longing for something new, and finally coming into a reasonableness. So it is shifting. If you feel hopeless about the global picture, this actually, even though it is kind of tight and tense right now, and we're moving into the cross of tension, so it daily wise, it's actually not quite released yet, the tension that we're under. It's kind of like a pressure cooker that's going on here with the feelings and emotions and clash and this and that. And my only point is, in the side of all of this, you might get to feeling like, fuck it, it's just, it's not going to happen. Nothing, it's like, it's all going to hell. But there is reason to think, in looking at the transits and the size of the cycles, that this is going to be resolving. So it is going to be getting to okay. There's going to be some crisis along the way, but the way to avoid that crisis is by doing our homework, figuring out who we are, figuring out our place in the new structure by leaning on our strengths and moving forward with intuition and courage. That's the way to be okay. The way to have a crisis is to cling on to the past so strongly that you have to be earthquaked out of it. So let's pay attention to ourselves and grow up so that we can have an easy shift. That's what I say. Anyway, I've talked way too long. Enough for today. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk some more about these transit energies. Until tomorrow, ciao.